A U.S. airman was stranded deep inside Iran, hunted by Iranian forces with a $60,000 bounty on his head. For 48 hours, the world held its breath. And then America did something that has never been done before in military history. This is the story of one of the most daring rescue operations ever executed, and it happened overnight. Setup 021. Let's go back to Friday. An American F-15 fighter jet is shot down over southwestern Iran during Operation Epic Fury. The pilot is recovered by U.S. Special Forces. Fast, clean, successful. But there's a problem. The weapons systems officer, the second crew member, is missing. He's somewhere inside Iran, alone, armed with nothing but a sidearm. And the clock is already ticking. Iranian forces aren't waiting around. They launch a full manhunt. The IRGC puts out a reward, $60,000, to any Iranian civilian who finds him and hands him over. Think about that. An entire nation being mobilized to hunt down one American airman. But here's what Iran didn't know. America was already watching. Rising tension, 1:10. The moment that jet went down, U.S. military leadership swung into action. President Trump, top generals, senior intelligence officials, all of them tracking this airman's location in real time from the White House, hour by hour through the night. The airman himself made a critical decision. After ejecting, he didn't panic. He hiked to an elevated mountain ridge, found cover, and waited. Every pilot carries a tracking system when they eject, and that system was feeding his location directly to U.S. intelligence. But getting that information is one thing. Getting him out is another, because this wasn't some remote desert. U.S. Special Forces would have to land near Isfahan, a city surrounded by military installations guarding Iran's nuclear facilities. Iranian ground forces were closing in. Drones were in the air. And the Iranians were offering cash rewards to civilians to be their eyes on the ground. The window to save this man was shrinking by the minute. The operation, 2-10-3-30. Here's where it gets extraordinary. The CIA deployed deception tactics on the ground, feeding false information to Iranian forces, making them believe the airman had already been located somewhere else. It was a calculated misdirection, buying precious time. Meanwhile, dozens of U.S. military aircraft flooded the skies, flying low, scanning for any sign of the airman. The IDF coordinated directly with American forces, deliberately holding back strikes in the rescue zone while simultaneously ramping up attacks on Iranian petrochemical plants and steel infrastructure in other areas, keeping Iranian attention divided. As Iranian forces began closing in on the ridge where the airman was hiding, U.S. forces struck those advancing units directly, surgical, precise, and ruthless. Nobody was getting close to that ridgeline, and then the special forces went in. Hundreds of operators, multiple aircraft, a perfectly timed insertion just south of Isfahan, one of the most heavily guarded regions in all of Iran. They found him, they secured him, and they got out. One U.S. transport aircraft experienced a malfunction on the ground during extraction. Rather than risk it falling into Iranian hands, U.S. forces destroyed it themselves. They left nothing behind. The entire operation, not a single American casualty. The announcement, 3:34. President Trump broke the news on Truth Social in the early hours of Easter morning. 3 words that said everything. We got him. He then confirmed that dozens of U.S. military aircraft and hundreds of Special Forces personnel were involved. He called it, and these are his words, the first time in military memory that 2 U.S. pilots have been rescued separately deep in enemy territory. Prime Minister Netanyahu added that Israel had already destroyed 70% of Iran's steel production capacity and was now striking petrochemical plants. The message was clear: this war is not slowing down. What this means, 4:05. Let's zoom out for a second, because what happened here is bigger than one rescue mission. U.S. and Israeli aircraft have now flown thousands of sorties over Iranian airspace since Operation Epic Fury began. Iran has air defense systems. They've launched ballistic missiles at Israel. They've threatened to shoot down more American planes. And yet, hundreds of U.S. Special Forces just landed inside Iran, conducted a successful extraction, and flew back out. That's not a lucky break. That's air superiority. That is total dominance of Iranian skies. A senior Israeli official told Fox News this morning, quote, "The level of coordination between air assets, the precision in timing, and the discipline under pressure stood out immediately." He added that when an operation like this unfolds in real time, the line between an Israeli pilot and an American pilot disappears. The expectation is the same. You bring him home. And they did. The deadline, 5:40. But here's the part that should have everyone paying attention right now. As of this broadcast, there are less than 24 hours left on President Trump's ultimatum to Iran. The message has been direct. Come to the negotiating table and de-escalate, or face what he described as total obliteration of Iran's energy infrastructure and power grids. Iran's response? Overnight, they launched drones targeting Kuwait. Minutes ago, fresh missile attacks toward Israel. They are still talking about unveiling new air defense systems. They are still posturing. They are not taking the deal. And every time President Trump has drawn a line, every single time, he has followed through. The next 24 hours could change everything about this conflict. Close, 5:46. An American airman spent 48 hours alone on a mountain ridge inside enemy territory, hunted by an entire nation, and America went in and brought him home. No casualties, perfect execution on Easter morning. Whatever happens next in this war, one thing is now undeniable. The United States military just sent a message to every adversary on Earth. We will come for our people, anywhere, anytime. Stay with the Prime Alert. We'll bring you every update as this situation develops. What was improved hook? Replace the news broadcast opening with an immediate high-stakes tease that forces the viewer to keep watching. Pacing. Restructured into a cinematic story arc, setup, rising tension, climax, aftermath, mirroring top-performing news storytelling formats, open loops, planted multiple questions early. But here's what Iran didn't know. Here's where it gets extraordinary. That pull viewers forward. Emotional triggers. Emphasize the lone airman's isolation, the bounty, the closing window, and the Easter timing to maximize emotional investment.